pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay.
Steve, before we start, can I just say something?
Sure.
I just want to thank everyone for agreeing to do this as a Zoom meeting. A lot of you probably know my husband is Brookfield High School class of 1973, and we were able to get together with some of his classmates. So that's why I couldn't be there in person. So I just want to thank everyone. Had nothing to do with COVID, nothing to do with, mask wearing, anything like that. It was just, end of the summer, a few of us getting away. So thank you.
Well, I don't have anything quite as noble, but we have booked our vacation, and I'm in North Carolina with all my kids for the first time in 2 years.
Oh, that's great.
I'm sorry, I'm not missing my kids.
Yeah,
one of them I haven't seen in 2 years.
And her birthday is today.
Yeah, my daughter's birthday is today.
Happy birthday, Kate.
And now it is what she calls Kate-tember.
Yes.
All of September is dedicated to Kate. So it is good. I think, each of the boards has made their own decisions on whether to do Zoom or in person. And I think that's a good idea. So, doing this by Zoom is probably not perfect, but it's a good way to do it, I think. And thank you, Sue. I appreciate that.
Yeah, thank you. So
is Tracy with us? Tracy, are you there?
I'm here.
Oh, I'm sorry. I got a lot of pictures here. So Tracy is a new library director, and I wanted to invite her to meet the Board of Selectmen, at least by Zoom, and give us a little history of what she's done and what she hopes to do in the new library. Welcome, Tracy. Go ahead.
Thank you, Steve. Can you all hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm Tracy Waking, the new library director. I'm super excited to be here in Connecticut, and specifically the director of the Brookfield Library. My most recent position prior to this was the director of library services for Indian River County, Florida. So it's been a big move for me, but me and my family are really excited to leave Florida and to be in Connecticut. I've been a professional librarian since 2010. And prior to that, I was a licensed practicing attorney in Florida and did a big career change. So it's great to be here. I know there's a lot to get done, especially the forefront of the list building, getting a new library built, which is very exciting, and just trying to recover from the COVID, which has, decimated numbers, and trying to get stuff back up and going, and keeping the patrons happy. It's my number one goal.
Thank you. Welcome.
Sorry, I usually hit mute because there's always noise going on. Thank you, Tracy. We welcome you, and I think we're all looking forward to a new library director and doing a great job for us. We welcome you. Thank you for spending a couple minutes introducing yourself to the board. Okay.
Thank you.
Now, Tracy, as one of the rules, we say the first meeting you must stay on for the next 2 hours and watch things with us. We will be checking.
No, we won't.
No, we're kidding. We're kidding. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the adoption of the Westcog Multi-Jurisdiction Hazardous Mitigation Plan. I would make a motion that the selectmen approve the resolution adopting the Western Connecticut Council of Governments Multi-Jurisdiction Hazard Mitigation Plan update for 2021 to 2026. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, second. Discussion.
I'm all set with that.
You're all set on that? We've done this before. This is a Westcog initiative that's required by federal law, that we do it as a county, in effect. It's a very good plan. It coordinates all the towns together, and it doesn't put any onus on the town itself except to meet the requirements which we already meet, and it allows us to coordinate with all the other towns.
And it allows us to get funding if there
Yes,
is
it
a,
allows us to get funding through Westcog
yep.
to
Mhm.
address these issues. So I don't think it's controversial.
Steve, I just want to let you know that Victoria Vetri from SLR Consultants is here to speak about this.
Yes,
Great.
thank you. And yes, Victoria, can you give us a little overview on this?
I can, yeah, that was a great intro, so thank you. Yeah, so you're right, you're part of the Westcog multi-jurisdictional plan. So the plan, for those that aren't familiar with it, has a few different parts. And like you mentioned, Steve, the town of Brookfield did have one edition, so that the first edition, which was from 2014. So this is now technically your first municipal update, to kind of update those past actions and then introduce any new ones. So this new plan that's been put together for the entire Westcog region has a few components. It has that multi-jurisdictional plan, which is that regional lens to evaluate and assess those regional challenges and identify region-wide actions. There's several appendices. A lot of those appendices are administrative with meeting notes and things like that. Some more in-depth exposure analyses. One really great component of this plan are these one-page fact sheets, which a lot of municipal staff like. They're kind of these rip and tear sheets that give information, whether it's regarding climate challenges, climate-related challenges, maybe some successful mitigation strategies and things like that. And then specifically, we have the Brookfield Annex, and then we also have the Brookfield Appendices. So this is where we dive into a little bit more on those specific challenges and actions and strategies for the town, as well as a Stapley matrix, which kind of helps prioritize those actions and strategies over the next 5 years. Like Steve mentioned, this is a really great planning document. Right, so none of these are, mandates. It's really just to help guide those actions for natural hazard mitigation actions over the next 5 years. Some being short-term, some being long-term goals. The town has identified a lot of actions for public outreach and engagement, as well as emergency response. For example, I've noticed a few items, acquiring and upgrading power sources and backup generators, things like that. So to help keep track for those mitigation plan actions. One big component of the plan, which is really important to keep it updated and maintained, is that it does keep the town eligible for grant funding. So the HMGP, the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program funding, that is currently open. And the new FEMA program, which is the BRIC, Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities, that funding program will be open later this fall, I believe, maybe October or November. So by having this plan updated and adopted, each municipality in the Westcog region is therefore eligible for those funding opportunities. So again, applying for those strategies and actions that have been identified in the plan. Again, like I said, not mandates, really just to help kind of as a planning guidance. So that's just a quick update and quick brief intro on the plan. It has been through several reviews and several comment periods, whether it's internally we review and comment. It's been to Westcog staff, it's been to municipal staff, and then it's also been to Dennis and FEMA, who ultimately approved this plan for adoption. So this is kind of the final stage. FEMA has given the okay, so now it's in the hands of the municipalities to be adopted. So I would be happy to answer any questions if there are any. Otherwise, we can go ahead with any adoptions from here on out for the town.
Okay, I just have one comment, maybe it's a question, is that this allows the towns in Westcog to work together in a coordinated fashion under the aegis of Westcog to, let's say for the Still River that runs from Danbury through Brookfield, and to mitigate issues together as a group. It's really no cost to the towns themselves, because we can get grants to work on this, and it allows us to make a regional plan, as it were, to do this. Did I say that in the right way?
Yeah, that's a great point. You did. Right. So you have your municipal, annex, right? But you do have that multi-jurisdictional, which is the Westcog. It's the region-wide plan. So it is a great opportunity, right, for Westcog can take this plan and then go ahead and say, we have some larger scale actions that do impact several municipalities, several communities. let's take that kind of broader lens and broader approach to try to leverage that plan to obtain some of that funding. So yeah, it's a good point.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Harry, Sue, any comments, concerns?
No concerns. Thank you.
No, Steve.
Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. All those in favor of adopting the resolution, say aye.
Aye.
It's 3-0. Thank you very much, Victoria, for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
You two must stay on for the rest of the meeting. It's only 2 hours. I'm kidding. Okay. Here's a really great part. We're going to move on to Brookfield Sustainability Youth Council. We have a number of our high school students who have become very dedicated and working on sustainability in town. So I'm going to make the motion that the selectmen recognize the Sustainability Youth Council and that they will serve as the town's informal advisors. Do I have a second?
Second.
Sue seconds.
Mhm.
So we'll have a discussion. Greg, would you like to give us an overview just to start, and then we can possibly invite some of the members?
Yeah, so I'm a couple of the members, actually, two of the really key leaders are on this call with us. So just very briefly for introduction, and they do have a PowerPoint presentation, Steve, if you do want to see it this evening.
I would like to see it. Sue?
But just as a way to kind of get us grounded here, my predecessor, Dana Ferraro, initiated this activity a couple of years ago, and we were able to achieve a bronze status. And that plaque sits down in the land use conference room. And now to not only maintain that status, but maybe to upgrade it, if you will, or improve it to a silver status, these group of seniors at Brookfield High School actually approached my office to lead the activity, to do that activity. And it's we've been meeting really 2 or 3 times a week now since the middle of July. And I'm so very impressed about what these future leaders have taken upon themselves to do. So this is basically a voluntary certification program. And there's a lot of information here. And I think they're going to give you a brief update on where we are and where we're headed. Just one more general comment. At this point, we're not asking to create any new town policies or procedures. At this point, what we're trying to do is just update and document what we currently have in place. And once we know that, we'll know what our gap is to decide if we want to take it any further. So that's that's where we are now. And with that, I will let our 2 young high school seniors take over the presentation. Thank you.
I think we had 3 of them, right?
Are there 3?
Jackson, Mahi, and Shruti? Yeah.
Jackson? Oh, yes, we have 3. I'm sorry. Yes. So
Okay.
please go ahead.
Go ahead, guys. Do
Is
they
it
have
possible to screen share the presentation?
Yep. And let's make sure we gave you access to share. Jenny, have we given them access? We made them
Hold
co-host?
on one moment.
Okay, we're gonna make you a co-host in 1 second, and then you can share.
Okay.
Go ahead, give it a try, Jackson.
Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Yes. Great. Thank you.
100%. Hi, my name is Jackson Sharp. I'm a senior at BHS, and today I'm going to be presenting with Mahi and Shruti on our Youth Council for Sustainable CT. So the mission of our Youth Council is to create a more sustainable and equitable community by promoting equitable action, inclusivity, and eco-friendly practices. And some of the ways we're trying to do that through our Youth Council is to make Brookfield a more appealing town for green investment, for new business owners and new organizations that are coming to Brookfield. And some of those ways that we want to improve our sustainability is through town fundraisers and town events focused on sustainability. And one of our goals for the future is to expand the council to the rest of our community so it can be a legacy once we graduate. As of right now, it's really just seniors, but we'd like to expand it to more of the Brookfield community, including seniors, adults, and anyone else that could help and contribute some ideas. So I'm having a little trouble getting to the next slide. 1 second. Let's see if I can get. Oop, I think I just skipped one.
Mhm.
Okay. So as Mr. Dembowski was saying, our previous certification was in 2018 and the official certification was filed in 2019, meaning that we need our certification by the end of 2022. But our goal for our Sustainability Council is to get the silver certification by spring of 2022. And the deadline for that certification is April 6th. And we have created a kind of informal plan as to how we want to get to there. As of right now, we've been interviewing a lot of subcommittee heads and committee heads within the town to acquire those documents. And then we've been later filing them for points towards our silver certification. And in the future, we'd like to do some subcommittees or working groups to kind of expedite that process. And I believe someone's going to go over the certification deadline and some of the qualifications we need in the next slide. Ooh, skip.
Yeah, so here you can see the two types of certifications which can be achieved through the project. So the first one highlighted there is bronze. So to qualify for bronze, we would need one equity toolkit. So the equity toolkit is basically a set of guidelines which our town would use to carry out the sustainability CT actions. So we need to apply that process to one of the projects that we'd complete. And then we'd also need 200 points, which can be achieved through completing certain actions. So that's for bronze. And then for silver certification, we'd need to apply that same equity toolkit process to 3 different projects that we'd take up. And we'd need 400 or more points, which again, we get through our the actions that we complete. Basically every single action that we would do as a town, we'd get a certain amount of points, which have been like pre-decided. So there's a small example here. If we hold a sustainability event, it would give us 5 points. And the actions, they don't have to necessarily be carried out by the Sustainability Youth Council. It can be any event that the town hosts.
For
And that's
example,
right.
could you have used the Trailways event this past Saturday on the Greenway?
Yeah, if we could find a category which it would fit into, we could most definitely use it.
Okay.
Yeah, Jackson, you can go to the next slide.
Yep. I was going to say that as of right now, we filed 1 equity toolkit and we filed about 100 points so far.
Great.
Yeah, so the categories that I was talking about before when you talked about the trail event, so these are all the 12 categories that we can, host an event for. So to receive recognition, we'd need to complete 1 activity in each category. And we've listed, we had like a couple like events that we could probably hold or have held already that would count for points within the categories. And in general, we just thought these activities would be, they're attainable for the town and they would be beneficial for our community.
Can I ask you a question? What is dark skies?
Oh, I know the answer. Ooh, can I answer?
Please, someone.
They do this in Arizona, and Phoenix actually has an incredible law about this, is that no light should go from any lighting device should go up. It has to be contained in just light, like a parking area. So if you drive into the Four Corners and you see the gas stations, under a dark sky, when you're driving into the Four Corners, you would not be able to see the light source from those canopies. They direct the light straight down so that you're able to look up and see the skies and see the stars.
Great, thank you.
I think that's a great idea.
Sure, yeah.
I'm sorry, we interrupted you. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Thank you.
I don't know if you want to click on the doc, but basically that's so far what we've done as progress. We've used this doc to kind of keep us organized, and we've divided it into 13 categories that Sustainable CT gives us, and kind of breaking them down by subcategories. And under each subcategory, depending on like what we have so far, we've inserted like links and where you can find documents to make filing easier. And then that way, once we have all our points filed, we can see where our gaps are, and based on what the points are like for, because each subcategory has a different amount of points. And in order to maximize points, we would choose a couple of them to focus on to kind of just fill the gap.
Yeah. My opinion here is these guys are doing an incredible amount of good work. They're delineating what we can do, what we can't do, how we can do it, what's achievable. And I've got to say thanks to Greg and all of you guys that you are really bringing an attention and a focus to things that the town can do. Much of it at not any cost to the town, just through thoughtful implementation of various things. So go ahead.
Yeah, so this is kind of just an outline of all the people we've met with. We've met with a bunch of department heads, thanks to Mr. Dembowski giving us those connections. And we have a plan to meet a couple other people. I think we would meet with the new director librarian, as I'm assuming Mrs. Brooks has stepped down from interim librarian. But that's kind of just who we've met with. You can take a look at who we've met with so far.
Yeah.
Jackson, if you want to go to the next.
So questions. So as we move forward, I'm assuming that you want to continue to work with the town itself, and you will keep us apprised of what you're doing so that we can coordinate this. Is this correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
So what I'm asking is that you guys will coordinate with the town as you have now going forward, correct? So that we can help you and you can help us.
Definitely.
Oh, good, good. Great. Sue, Harry, any questions or concerns?
I did have a question. Forgive me if there's background noise because I'm in a public place. And also forgive me if I should know this, but I am a bit confused as to what we are actually trying to accomplish and what our goal is, physically what our goal is. I'm just not sure where this all, what we're looking to do.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
What we're trying to do here, Harry, is to recognize both the efforts of this young group of seniors and their ability to get other people involved within the schools, and to give them a formal recognition that the town is in support of what they're doing and will coordinate with them and give them as much support as we can as they move forward.
But that my question is, and again, forgive me if I should see this, I'm not quite sure what they're trying, what their goal is. I mean, as a town, what are we trying to accomplish? I'm not questioning it. I just don't understand what is our goal? I mean, what are we trying to do through this study?
Oh, okay. So I think, and guys,
I'm not quite sure. I don't think people may understand exactly what sustainability actually means or what that goal is.
oh, well, that's a good point. Sustainability, I think, and guys, you tell me if I'm wrong. Sustainability is our desire to make sure that we do things in a way in town, whether it's recycling, whatever, in a way that's sustainable, that we can continue to do it and not affect the environment, or affect the environment in the least invasive way. Mahi, is that correct?
Yeah, just to add on to what you said, at least from the work that we've all done, I think we've also learned that sustainability is not just environmental, although
it is a big part of it. It's like, for example, the dark skies to reduce light pollution, or there's also some categories about homelessness, and it's kind of just making our town more efficient and just trying to fill in some of the gaps that we may not have noticed before. I
Yeah,
don't know
that
if
makes sense. That makes sense. And Harry, we would coordinate, we have the energy committee that works on that, and they've already, I think, spoken to them, and we'll coordinate with them. That's a very specific thing, change the lighting in town hall, which you've already done, to use less electricity. So all of these things, they may be small, little things, incremental things, but over time, they'll help the entire town and the entire environment. Does that answer your question, Harry?
Yeah, I mean, and again, I'm not trying to minimize this. I mean, is this more or less what our day-to-day goal is through all of our commissions and our boards and our departments? And again, I'm not trying to minimize what the students are doing. I'm just trying to understand. I mean, this is basically what we do as a government, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we've been doing this for many, many years. A
Right.
perfect example is like we require houses to be insulated to a certain level so that they don't use more energy than they absolutely have to.
Right.
It's that sort of thing. Encouraging solar. We've done that 2 or 3 times in town where we, not hire a company, but endorse a company based on reviews that we've done to come in and put solar in for people's houses. It's all along those things. It's all about making the environment we live in as a town more sustainable, right? Over the long term.
And I think, as Greg said in the beginning, this is something that Dana had kind of gotten us involved in a few years ago. Of course, she's no longer with us. Greg has stepped into that position. So the fact that these great youths can, help us out and come up with some suggestions, that's wonderful.
Yeah, it is. You guys have done a great job so far. And Greg, I want to thank you too. This is, I think beyond the purview of what we've asked you to do when you first started, but you've done a great job.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Any further
Greg's busy.
questions, issues, Sue or Harry? Anything else you want to discuss?
No, but whatever we can do to help you, it would be wonderful if we can get up to the, the Connecticut silver rank. So, please keep us in the loop, and happy to help you wherever we can.
Yeah, so to finish our motion, I made the motion, Sue seconded it. All those in favor of including the Brookfield Sustainability Youth Council and advisors to the town, say yes.
Yes.
Harry?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys very, very much. We really appreciate all you're
Yes,
doing.
thank you so much for thinking of the town and helping us along. Thank you.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
Yep.
Okay,
And
so
making it sustainable for your children and your grandchildren too. So
yeah,
it's important.
you're right, Sue.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
Okay,
Thank you
I'm
for
sure we'll
having
have you
us.
back again. Hopefully soon when we get silver, right? In June or so of next
April.
year, you guys are gonna make sure that happens, right? Okay.
We'll
Yes,
help.
Thank you.
maybe the most sustainable town in CT, if all goes well.
Okay, thank you, Jackson.
Thank you.
Okay, so we'll move on to the Pocket Park land purchase.
Mhm.
I'll start with the motion that the selectmen forward an 824 referral request to the Planning Commission to include the increase in the scope of the Pocket Park land purchase. Do I have a second?
I will second that.
Okay. For discussion, Greg, would you like to give us an overview? I know we've done this a few times, but it's probably a good idea to do it again.
Yes, I would. There's actually a package in your handout, and if we can get that up, Jenny, I'll be as brief as I can.
Okay, I'll give it a try. Thank you.
So as she's doing that, just a little background. You may recall in Streetscape Phase 3, our original design called for a pocket park, that grassy area in front of the Old Hearth restaurant. And we put a tremendous effort in designing that park, even to the extent of working with the Arts Commission to put in an art sculpture. When it came down to the final design, the district district 4 office for the DOT said, you know what? We really don't want to have a public park on state right of way, so we're not going to allow it. And I said, well, thank you very much. How can we work through this? They said, well, you can either lease or purchase that land, and therefore you'd have total control if you purchase it on what you put there, as long as you meet all of the DOT health and safety standards for sightline access and everything else and setbacks. So with that, I received the information that they require for a municipality to purchase state DOT property. And if you can then pull up the presentation, I'll just go over a couple pages of that package that I sent you.
Yeah, could you?
Sorry, Greg, that you didn't see it? I thought, I see it on my end.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, let me
Sure.
try it again then. Hold on.
Hit share screen a second time.
Yeah, you got to get Greg. There we go.
Can you all see it?
No.
We see scheduling made easy.
I see a
That's
Zoom
not good.
ad. Yeah.
Jenny, if you want, you could just go through the presentation. I'm only going to go through the first 3 pages.
Greg, we're seeing your screen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If you go to
I do
whatever-
not have this. I'm at my home. I don't have this on my computer.
Oh, okay. So Ginny, do you have it? Let's give Ginny a minute to look at it.
Yeah.
I know we don't have a cost for what it might be, but leasing is minimum $75 a month, huh?
No,
That can get
No.
pricey. Yeah. We'd
You
rather
know,
purchase it. And what
well,
is land that they're not going to do anything with anyway? It's,
Yeah.
what could they do? Nothing.
Right. So, without the presentation, Steve, I can talk through this unless you want to wait for the.
no, go ahead. Start talking through it. If Ginny can get it up, that's fine.
All right. So just very general, I think generally you know where I'm talking about. It's that, oh, here we go.
Here we go.
Ah,
No.
go ahead, Greg. And if Ginny can get it up, we'll.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think you know what we're talking about in front of the old Hart, that just grassy, general grassy area. Here we are.
Yay.
So in general, that's about 15,000 square feet of land. It's all on the west side of Federal Road. And the area where we'd like to put that park abuts to 3 properties, 766, 756, and 10 Old Route 7. The middle property is the Old Hearth Restaurant. 766 is owned by it's an undeveloped parcel of land, and it's under those overhead transmission wires.
Right.
And 10 Old Route 7 is the house just south of the Old Hearth Restaurant.
Mhm.
So the purpose of the acquisition would give the town more control and basically allow us to put in a design for a pocket park. And that's all part of the pedestrian-friendly environment we're trying to create in our town center district. Now, we are putting in Streetscape Phase 3. Construction starts April of 22. And this is not going to be in that unless we move forward with this idea. So the layout of the park, as I say in the middle there, it would include, the park would be laid out and it would tie in phases 2 and 3 of Streetscape. And here is a picture. If that's okay, you can go to that, Jenny. So that hash mark areas 1, 2, and 3 is the area we would acquire. And as Sue said, that doesn't look to be a lot of value to anybody, but there is a process by which the state determines the value of that land. And that process is on the next page, and it'll be my last page.
Mhm.
So if we do decide to purchase it, and it is the recommendation of Tom Beecher that we purchase, not lease, that we purchase that property, and you can see the 4 steps there. And basically the first step, assuming that piece of land meets local zoning regulations, and it does, it's undeveloped, is that it'll be appraised to establish an asking price. Then on step 2, the municipality is going to be given the first right of refusal as part of a bidding process that's established. And then step 3, or in that step 2, Oh, thank you, Jenny. The municipality has 45 days to respond. If it waives its right, the sale will move forward with a successful bidder. Now, so until there's an appraisal, we don't know how that land or what it's going to be valued at. On its own, it can't be developed for much, but maybe to an abutting property owner, they might see some value in it. So until all that's done, if you were asked the question, what are we going to have to pay for it? The answer is we don't know. But that is the process the state's going to go through. So that's basically where we are. If we want to proceed with the pocket park, this is going to be the process we'll need to follow. The rest of the presentations are all just the forms and everything else here.
Greg, when this goes to zoning, so it hasn't been zoned, it has not been zoned yet, is that correct?
Well, right now it's state right away. So it's in the town center district, and that parcel of land will have to comply with all of the zoning regulations in the TCD.
So at some point when it becomes available for purchase, would that go out? Would this go to multiple people if someone else wanted to come in and buy it? Or is this something that the town would only have the right to do?
The town is given the first right of refusal after the bidding process is established, or the purchase price is established as part of the bidding process. So and then we have 45 days to respond on that first right of refusal.
We would have 45 days?
Yes.
Okay. And with your experience of, purchasing state land before, how long might it be while they do their research and figure out what the price might be?
So it's going to be several months, Sue.
Okay.
The last time we did this, it took the state 9 months to come back to us with a purchase price for a piece of property.
Greg,
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Steve, I didn't mean to cut you off. I am all in favor of trying to get some kind of park there, and correct me if I'm wrong, or if you think I'm in the wrong direction, but to me, it sounds like we're opening up a can of worms, where this possibly could go to someone else who purchased it and could do something else with the land. I have no idea what, but it just sounds like, I don't know, it sounds like something that may not go well. And correct me if I'm wrong.
If you go back to that map on the next page, the strip of land is so narrow, you really can't, you can't do anything to it. Nobody can put anything there.
Okay.
And meet our zoning rules.
Yeah.
30 feet deep, 60 feet long.
Yeah, can I chime in with a couple of points?
Yes, please, Tom.
Please.
Number one, these individual parcels as shown on the map, they abut different properties. So in other words, there's only a small portion that has any value to the actual abutting property. In other words, 2 and 3 really don't have a lot of value to the parcel that abuts number 1. So I think that is part of the elimination of the possibilities that Harry was raising. Number 2, yes, the land is in the TCD zone, and therefore it is TCD zoned land, but the prospective use of this as a town park is perfectly acceptable, as have been other amenities in the Four Corners. So,
and it is state owned now. And if the property owners wanted to purchase it themselves, that little bit, then that would actually increase their taxes to the town as well. They've been doing nothing with it now.
Correct.
So,
Correct. They don't own it now, and if they wanted to, they could try to purchase it. The town gets a right of first refusal at the price that the state estimates or decides the value is. But these are very small pieces of property.
Right.
There's nothing anyone outside of the adjacent property owners would have interest in, because you can't do anything.
Right. Okay.
And what I think we're thinking too is, putting in the art sculpture would really go into section 2. Am I correct? Because that's where the widest area of the land is. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's
so the rest would just be a nice, piece of grassy area in front of their businesses.
Yeah, a buffer, as it were.
Yep.
Right?
Greg, is there any way that we could do this? But first know what the price is going to be before we forward this to people to do work on it when we have no idea what the price is.
Yeah,
Right,
no,
first
the
refusal.
state will determine a price, give it to us. We have the right of first refusal. So if they say it's $50,000 for the whole thing, we have the right to pay that immediately and choose to buy it, or say, no, we don't like that price. And then others might be able to purchase it.
Steve, are there funds within the streetscape budget itself for us to purchase this land? So it won't actually be the town's money?
Yes.
Well, so a couple, if I can make two comments. The first is, to start this process requires a $500 check and a filled out form that is in that presentation.
Right.
So for $500, we can start the process.
Okay.
And then secondly, our LOTSIP grant that designed Streetscape Phase 3 did not include the purchase of land. So our current LOTSIP grant, as we received our PAL letter, our authorization letter, does not include the purchase of land. So I asked Westcog a couple of weeks ago, is there any reason why we just couldn't request additional LOTSIP funding or amend the LOTSIP grant for Phase 3 to include this purchase? And what Kevin Mahoney told me is probably not, because LOTSIP is meant for roadway improvements. And here you're basically buying a park for the town.
Okay.
So he said you can try, but chances are it won't pass the muster with the DOT under the LOTSIP program.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe an arts grant or something, but yeah, okay, that's good to know. Thank you, Greg.
Greg, one other point while I'm looking at this map. Isn't the town that actually owns the land that abuts number 2 and number 3?
Yeah, so I see that, Tom, but I think when I read their application, I don't think they include town road right of way as abutting. I could be wrong. And if I am wrong, of course, there'd be the town purchasing sections 2 and 3. And that may change the value too. But honestly, until we get through that process, or start this process, you make a good point. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to play out.
Well,
Because
even if that part is true, Greg, the other thing is that it reduces the value because it's not really the abutting property owner that can add that to their own property, because there's a sliver in between that's the old Route 7 right-of-way that's in between 2 and 3 and any of those abutters. So the value to actual abutting property owners goes way down, and probably
because there's no value to the town. We own that. We own the abutting.
And number 1 abuts a whole bunch of wetlands. So I don't know.
Right, number 1, right? Is that all wetlands there?
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's a transmission line that goes overhead, so you can't even build on that little shaded area in number 1.
So I'm not sure we're going to have a lot of competition.
Yeah.
No.
Honestly, in my gut, I think that's going to be for sale at a very, very reasonable price. But I just have to let you know there is a chance with this public bidding process, it could be something more. We just don't know.
Okay.
No, you never know.
But we have right of first refusal also. And then could we also say, okay, it's too expensive, but we don't want the property owners to get it, have the option of leasing?
Yeah, we could.
Not that we would want to, but.
Not that we would want to, and I don't think the state wants to get into a lease for, 3,000 square feet of land that's abutted by their highway and town property.
Yeah.
I don't know what the lease would be, but I think they would prefer just to sell it, get it off of their books.
Right, make it reasonable for us, yep.
And they might give us so many stipulations with the lease that we still might not be able to put a pocket park in.
Right. Right.
Okay.
So we'll just have to wait to see.
Okay.
So, given our motion, I think we should move the A24 to the Planning Commission.
Yes.
And then look at, once the Planning Commission makes their decision, we come back. I would also, I can amend my motion, can I, Tom? To spend the $500?
Yeah, if the seconder agrees.
Okay. So I would make that motion. Any further discussion?
So what is the motion, Steve?
So the motion is to forward to an 824 referral request to the Planning Commission to increase the scope of the Pocket Park land purchase and to fund the $500 application fee to the state.
Mhm.
Do I have a
And I,
second?
as the second person, agree to that.
Okay.
I seconded it. Yeah. Mhm.
Any further discussion?
No, I would love to see the sculpture there. I think it's going to be a great addition to the streetscape.
I would too. Harry?
Well, I know that this is going to pass through one. I'm just a bit confused. Please forgive me. I am going to vote no, not because I'm against it. I'm just a little confused. So.
Okay, that's
Right.
fine.
Yeah,
Okay.
I would
So
rather
let's-
not, I'm sorry, Steve. I'd rather not put $500 out on the table when I'm doing something that I'm still a little confused on, so.
Okay,
I'm
that's fine. So all those in favor say aye? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
No,
No, okay. 2-1, that passes. Okay. Greg, thank you very, very much. That was
Thanks,
very
Greg.
elucidating.
thank you, Greg.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, now we move on to the monthly agenda items. It's with sadness that the Board of Selectmen recognizes the fact that former First Selectman Bob Szilagyi, who was in office from 12/3/2007 to 12/14/2009, passed away on August 20th. Bob was a really nice guy. We extend our condolences to their family, and we thought we should recognize the fact that he served the town as much as he could. Sue or Harry, do you have a comment that you'd like to add?
Yeah. No, I know he, reading reports about him, he was a fantastic, teacher and all that, and just appreciate the time that he gave to his town that he really loved. So thank you.
That's nice. That's nice. Harry, anything you want to say? I think we lost Harry. Oh,
There he is. He's back.
No, yeah, I had to take myself off. I didn't really know Bob well, but I certainly would like to thank his family for his service. Anytime you put yourself out and serve a town or serve a committee, or especially as a selectman, it should be appreciated, and I appreciate his work. So,
yeah, thank you, Harry. Thank you, Harry. On the coronavirus update, we have been pretty level for the last few weeks. We pumped up into the red for 1 week, and now we're back. We're down one level. We're continuing to watch this. We're waiting for the governor to make a final decision as to if he's going to ask that his executive powers be extended by the legislature. I have not heard anything on that. Those expire on September 30th, and our powers are coterminous with his. So we'll just have to watch this very, very carefully regarding what we're doing with the coronavirus. I think Connecticut has done a really good job in managing this. Other states, I mean, it's like on wildfire. It's just crazy in some other states, but here we don't have that problem. Coffee with the Community will be held Saturday, September 25th from 9 o'clock to 10:30 at Chick-fil-A at 156 Federal Road. We encourage any residents to attend that have questions or concerns. There also are vacancies on a number of boards and commissions, including Historic District Commission, Housing Authority, Inland Wetlands Planning, and Zoning Commission. So if you're interested in serving on any one of those boards, please send us a note at the First Selectman's office or go through your town party if you choose to do that.
Steve, can I add to that? Lake Lolanona has an opening as well.
Oh,
So if
I'm
anyone's
sorry.
interested in the lake, and what happens with the lake. Mhm.
Thank you, Sue, for updating
Yep.
that. We didn't have any correspondence addressed to the Board of Selectmen. And now we move to the, exciting part of our meeting is Marcia Marion and our financial report. Marcia, go ahead.
Thank you for that introduction. That I'm going to share my screen, and so just to show you some of the transfers that bring this over. We've got transfers that you've got the budget to actual that you've had now for a few days that And we have some transfers. This is the year-end transfers. You've got intra-department transfers to approve and inter-department transfers. The biggest, I would say, sensitivity might be that we're making transfers to some salary lines. I've gone through every one of the salary lines, and there's 3 different reasons for them. A perfect attendance. In addition, some people have had perfect attendance, and so there's an extra salary for that. There's some that are accrual adjustments. I screwed up that I had my schedule of accruals, and Bob Belden said to me, well, that doesn't look right. And I double checked my calculations, and the calculations all seemed to be right. Well, what I missed was my calendar. It said 1 day, and it should have been 1 more day. So an accrual adjustment, nobody got paid more. It's just an accounting thing. And then the third one is staff turnover. Sometimes staff turnover save us money if there's a vacancy in the middle, and sometimes there's extra money that we need because of a staff turnover, that because people get paid out their vacation. As far as the other transfers that would be interesting, and I apologize here that I must have lost connection 6 times so far tonight, and now I've lost this. The other transfer is moving 3 projects to capital non-recurring that and it's not coming back. That 3 projects to capital non-recurring. We couldn't use them as encumbrances because we were still in the bidding phase. But there were 3 projects that we were working on that people had room in their budget for, but that we just couldn't get done by June 30th. So we'd like to move it to capital non-recurring to do later. One is the Wisconsin Middle School, the engineering costs of the wall for $20,000. One is $10,000, the oil tank where people could put their recycled oil, got some of the wrong type of stuff in it, and we have to mitigate that. And then the third one is an air conditioning unit upstairs on the 2nd floor that has died several times. So those we're asking to be transferred to capital non-recurring. And then we're also asking for the contingency to be transferred to capital non-recurring, the unspent contingency, so that we could have that if we need it for a future issue that may come up. Any questions when you reviewed that?
Sue or Harry? I'm pretty familiar with this, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm all set. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it just looks like, though, with the expenditures on your very last page, that it was at 98.19%. So we came in, a little under budget, and I would just commend everyone for really watching the lines and doing what they did. Yeah, because it's great. I mean, and 98%, I mean, in my world, that's, that's pretty precise that you were able to do this. So
they did a great job. That when you hear what they did to bring their budgets under, that was great. And remember that they all had a 0 increase in their budgets last year. So really well done by the department heads.
Yeah, we had to make sometimes some pretty hard decisions about this, but given it was a pandemic year, the Board of Finance, after months of going back and forth, had agreed to increase our budget, I think by 1.something%. Our team did a great job on this. They really did. And it just goes to show that both the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance put together a budget that was manageable and executable. And our team leaders in each department really worked hard on this. And given also the additional revenue that we had that we absolutely did not expect, it was a good year for the budget. It really was. Okay.
Yeah, great job.
Harry, any comments?
No, I'm all set. Thank you.
So I would make a motion that the selectmen approve the intra-department transfers that Marcia had mentioned and are in the reports, and the interdepartment transfers as provided on the 2021-06-30 year-to-date budget versus actual revenues report, and the 2021-6-30 year-to-date budget versus actual expenditure report prepared on September 2nd, 2021 to the Board of Finance. Have a second on that?
I'll second that. I'll second that, Steve.
Okay.
Any further discussion?
No,
Nope.
great
All
job.
those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Approved, 3-0.
Thank you.
Okay, on our new items, this gets interesting. I'll make the motion first this time. I recommend that the selectmen forward an 820 referral request to the Planning Commission for a purchase of possible land, a donation of land at 43 Old Bridge Road to the town. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Sue seconds.
Yep.
Discussion. This property abuts, if you remember, Sue, your boys will remember, the Boy Scouts camp down at the end of Old Bridge Road on town property. All the troops in town go down there. This property abuts that to the south, and the property owner is willing to donate the land to the town, and it would become, I believe we should make it open space. It's abutting an existing property that we own. We will have legal fees associated with this, somewhere between $5,000 and $10,000. We will lose the taxes paid on this property, which are, because it's undeveloped, aren't outrageous. But I think it's a good idea, and I think we should do that. That's
Yeah. An opportunity for someone to donate land to us, I think is wonderful. And tell me if I'm wrong, but the costs for the legals, filing and surveys and things like that, would not come from the town, or did you decide it would, Tom? Because I saw something
we haven't
go
made a
back and
final
forth.
decision, but
Or
we
from
can-
open space land,
right,
budget.
the open space funding, which I think we have about 170,000 in to pay for those fees. So they're
Okay.
already there. That money is already there.
Yeah, that was the gist of my comment, was that it may be available in existing funding as opposed to.
Yeah, I've talked to the Conservation Committee, and I think they're in support of that.
Okay,
Right.
yeah, that's great. I mean,
Yeah.
a
Harry,
perfect use of their monies.
Yeah.
No, I'm in agreement. Anytime we can get a donation of land, I would think we would want to take advantage of it.
Yeah,
Great.
especially
Okay.
abutting what we have already. I mean, it's perfect. Yeah.
So this motion is just that the selectmen forward an 824 referral. So all those in favor of sending the referral?
Aye.
And Harry, you're a yes, right? Okay, that's 3 yeses, and then we would make a motion to actually accept it at a future meeting.
Right.
Everybody's in favor of doing that. The next item is the refunding bond. I make a motion that the selectmen make a motion to waive the reading of the entire resolution that you have in your packet. And that the selectmen make a motion to approve a resolution entitled Resolution with Respect to Authorization, Issuance, and Sale of not exceeding $6,500,000 aggregate principal amount of the Town of Brookfield General Obligation Refunding Bonds. Do I have a second?
Yeah. Do you need a second on the first one, though? I don't believe we
It
got
is,
that.
I combined them, but I would make
Is that okay?
the yes and yes.
Okay. I'll make a second and a second.
The reason we're doing this is we have the ability under our existing bond obligations, we have some outstanding debt that we can refinance at what we believe to be a much lower interest rate. Right now, our bond counsel and our financial advisor believes that we will save about $525,000 in interest on these bonds if we refinance them. It should be also noted that we are not extending the life of the bonds. We're simply refinancing existing debt with the same tenor and limits. So we could say 525,000, of which 450,000 is for the town, $75,000 is for the WPCA, and nothing changes except we pay less money. So
And
I
does
think
does it
Yeah.
affect our going out for bonding of the school at all?
no,
Or
it doesn't.
No issues?
We're going to do it at the same time, but
Okay.
anytime you can lower your actual expense, that helps with the rating
Sure.
agencies. It's not
Yeah,
a ton of
okay.
money for the rating agencies to look at, but it's something we should do. We can save
That's a,
500.
yeah, that's a lot of money for us.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Mhm.
Harry, any comments, concerns?
No, I'm fine with this.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Carries 3-0. Our next is the Capital Planning Ad Hoc Committee. I make a motion that the selectmen appoint the following members of the Capital Planning Ad Hoc Committee. From the Board of Education, Joy Greenstein, Board of Ed member, and Ken Post, School Business Manager. Board of Finance, Ryan Rudenis, Board of Finance member, and Ricky Ramos, Board of Finance member, appointing him as chairman. And Board of Selectmen, Steve Dunn, First Selectman, and Marcia Marion, Controller, Director of Finance. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
A second. Discussion. If you remember during last year's budget negotiations and discussion, there was considerable concern on the part of all of the boards that when it came to capital projects, we simply had so much data coming in and so many requests, it was really hard to look at all of them in depth and to make a decision as to what to move forward on the capital projects versus not. So we agreed then in general that what we should do is form a committee that would meet in October, November, December to look at all of the capital projects that are coming up in the next year's budget, talk to the department heads, get the detail, and then do an in-depth review of it and allocate and prioritize them across every department, across the Board of Ed, across the town. Here's number one, here's number two, here's number three, here's must-haves, here's nice-to-haves, things like that. And then that data would be given to the boards when we actually enter our budget discussions next year. I think that's a really good idea, and all of the boards are in favor of it. So I think that's something that we should do.
Can I ask a question? Yeah. So you've got, a Board of Education member on there. Fantastic, because, that's important. But what about people representing capital planning for Park and Rec or, police
Yeah,
maybe?
Good point. They would be part of the town, supported by Steve, myself, and Marcia.
All right. I just thought it was interesting that you did, you pulled out the Board of Ed, but not others.
Yeah, well, Marcia and I are very, very familiar with every single thing the town is doing. We're not quite as familiar as what the Board of Ed needs and desires. So we thought that's a good point, though.
Okay, but you know what they need, but
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say you're going to be a salesman, but the importance of it, because you're not working with the everyday Park and Rec or Public Works or the
Right,
other.
that's a good point. And that's why we thought we would make Ricky Ramos a member of the Board of Finance as the chairman of this committee to make sure that they're the final deciders of all of this. So let's make him, and this had the support of the Board of Finance to make Ricky the chairman.
Oh.
So that we present our stuff and then we move forward.
Yeah. And certainly, Joy will do a great job in recommending what would be, recommended in, levels for a Board of Ed, but I just don't know who's going to know, that they need a certain piece of equipment over another piece of equipment in the other departments.
Well, yeah, that's a good question. And that's why we would ask each department and each group, like Dan Caldwell or Mary Knopf.
As they do for the budgets, to give us a 1 through 10.
Ask them to come in and present.
Okay, so you are.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Then I'm okay with this.
Then that's a very good point. We're not going to do this in a vacuum. That wouldn't work at all. We just hope to add depth to that capital review so that when all the boards get together next year, they really have a good idea that's been vetted by everybody.
And say that you're kind of still on plan for what we've been discussing for the past several years? Okay.
Yep, and part of that plan is we're asking each department, or ask them to come up with their 10-year capital plan, add the next year, because we're in a new year, and come up with a 10-year plan that that the board can look at. And this committee would be ad hoc in a sense, in that we just want to get more information.
Okay. I'm
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Harry, any comments, concerns?
No, I am fine with this.
Okay, good.
Steve, I am on, it's just very noisy here, so I'm gonna be on mute as much as I can, but I
Yeah,
will
that's
come in when
okay.
I need to. Okay.
Right.
Yep.
So that's why, Harry, when I see you're muted, I hope you don't mind that I am seconding things, because I figure that's easier.
No, that's perfect, because it
Okay.
is noisy here, and I'll make sure I let you know when we need to go. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks,
All right.
Harry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I see Harry's hand. He can stay on thing. Okay, we move on to the consent agenda. I recommend that the selectmen approve the items on the consent agenda, which includes the selectmen approvals for routine matters, the Board of Selectmen meeting minutes. I will mention the employee changes. Tracy Waking, a new hire for the position of library director.
She's actually listed there twice, Steve.
Is she?
Yes, I'm sorry, there's no two Tracy, Tracy's.
Yeah.
That's okay.
She is. Maybe she's doubly special.
Just you don't say twice.
Okay.
And actually, yeah, driveway bonds, there's 32 sheer markers twice, but that's okay. Go ahead. Steve.
Okay. But otherwise, we're all okay with that in the
Yes.
excavation bonds? Okay. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Right. Our next appointments. I recommend that the selectmen reappoint Joanne Gargiulo to the Brookfield, unaffiliated, to the Brookfield Housing Authority for a term of 9/30/21 to 9/30/26. Do I have a second?
I have a second. I'd also like to add to that she attends the Commission on Aging meetings, and she puts out every month a newsletter to all the people that live in Brookfield, you know, the quarry, and she just does a great job. So I'm so glad to see that she's, you know, coming back. She's great.
I didn't know that, Sue. Thank you.
Yeah, she's
All
great.
those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Harry, you can just wave at us.
Mhm.
All right, I think Harry waved. All right, Harry's a yes. I make a motion that the selectmen appoint Gregory Friedman and Samhita Shirsat as youth members on the Youth Commission, filling vacancies for a term of 9/13/21 to 2/7/22. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, thank you, Harry. We heard you. Planning Commission, I recommend that the selectmen appoint Mark Loengart as an alternate member on the Planning Commission, filling a vacancy for a term of 9/13/21 to 2/7/22, as recommended by the Democratic Town Committee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, you want a second? I'll second it.
Second, 2 seconds.
Yeah.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. And then public comment. Do we have anyone who would like to make a public comment? Nope. John Lucas, no public comment?
Steve, I would like to.
Go
I
ahead.
hope you can hear me. I just wanted to really quickly thank the people who coordinated the Candlelight Vigil Saturday night. There was approximately 175 to 180 people. There were speakers who were there, who were first responders. We had a resident who was injured, was let out by an ETM, ETM people. She went back in and never came out. It was just it was an incredible night. It was passionate. It was uplifting. It was heart-wrenching, but I wanted to thank the people who coordinated that. It was very well received, and I just want to make a statement on that because it was a great night.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Harry, for going and representing, you know, the Board of Selectmen. You know, like as Steve and I said in the beginning, we had different obligations and couldn't be there, but thank you for being there for us.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Great. So, any further public comment? Nope.
Yes, I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, go ahead.
Hi, this is Michael Del Valle, Apache Drive. I read in the News Times today that that Bethel has received half of their $5.9 million dollars of their American Rescue Plan. Their Board of Selectmen voted to allocate $350,000 of the federal stimulus toward a small business assistance program. So I was wondering, has Brookfield received any of our $5 million of the American Rescue Plan? And will the Board of Selectmen vote to help our struggling small businesses with a small business assistance program?
Oh, Michael, very, very good questions. The first answer is yes. We received $2,511,000 about 7 weeks ago. The Board of Selectmen has appointed a committee of residents, 10 people in total, with 5 advisors from various boards as liaison members to come up with the best uses for the funds and to recommend to the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Finance how those funds should be used. We've asked them to come back to us by the February Board of Selectmen meeting, which is about 6 months. They've already started meeting, and then the Board of Selectmen will make recommendations to the Board of Finance as to how to spend those funds. So yes, they're considering that. They've gotten a number of requests for funding that go across the gamut. And so we're looking for, if you have any specific ideas, please send them to my office and we will forward them to the ad hoc committee. We don't have to start spending money until 2024. We can start spending it almost immediately if we choose. And we have to finish spending the money by 2026. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thanks for calling in and joining us.
And Steve, one
Okay.
more thing to
Good night
mention.
now.
One more thing to mention. Yeah, regarding the ARPA ad hoc committee, they're actually meeting on Thursday. I think they're meeting in person at Town Hall. I'm not sure. I think it's room 227, I think on the website it said.
Yeah.
So at 7 p.m. on Thursday, that group is going to be meeting. So it's open to the public. I'll be there just because I want to know what's on everyone's mind for uses of these funds. So
That's a very good point. So Michael, we'd love for you
Thanks,
to
John.
join that committee
Mhm.
if you can. Join the meeting.
yeah, 7 o'clock Thursday, Town
Great.
Hall.
Thank you, John. Any other further comment from the public? Hearing none, I make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'll second that.
Okay, Harry, we heard you that time.
Harry quite got that one.
Yeah, you got it.
Good night, everybody.
In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, and by the way, I'm having a ball at the beach. Finally seeing my kids for the first time in 2 years. It's great.
Oh, Steve, that's great. Have
Okay,
fun.
see you guys soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.
Bye.